You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Thanks for joining me today on part 2 of our weekend house calls, where we get to answer our community's questions each and every weekend. Always excited to be able to connect with people from all over the world. I just saw someone actually apply just earlier today in the practice from Kuwait, and we have not spoken with anyone from Kuwait yet, so that'll be nice to be able to speak with someone over there as well. So all around the world, really fun. We've literally, I think it's pretty much every continent now except Antarctica. Looking forward to the day where I get to connect with one of the few hundred people who live on Antarctica as well through the private practice. So thank you everyone for being a part of this community. Truly appreciate you. And I'm looking forward to answering your questions. So let's get right into it today so we can answer as many as possible since we're working through the end of May questions right now. This one is coming in on 5/24, May 24th, from Heidi. Heidi writes in, "Hi, Dr. Ball. I love your podcast and all it has taught me since I started listening about 6 months ago. Thank you for your dedication to making our world a healthier, more educated place. My question today is about newborns and vaccinations. My husband and I are expecting our first baby in a month. I'm so overwhelmed about the vaccination situation, and I don't know the right thing to do. My husband is against vaccinations, whereas I'm pro-vaccinations to some extent, but not completely. My question is, in your opinion, are there some vaccinations out there that are more important than others and some we could choose to skip out on? And does a delayed vaccination schedule make sense? I hate the idea of putting all these synthetic chemicals in a newborn's body, but I also couldn't live with myself if my child ever got a terrible sickness from not being vaccinated. Thanks for your time and your expert advice." You know, Heidi, that is always the question, right? That's the conundrum. That's the dilemma. You know, if we vaccinate and something happens to our child, because some children are affected. Like, that's the truth, and that's not an opinion anymore. There's something called the Vaccination Relief Fund, and it's paid out over $1 billion in children that have been affected. So there's that. And then there's also the argument then, yeah, but what if they did get something, and then you could have gotten them the vaccination, right? So, you know, I have obviously my viewpoints, but it's not, I don't believe it's the right thing to do to share exactly what I do. So what I always recommend is this. When you come up against a very important topic where it's so heated, people who are pro-vaccination get so upset and angry at those that are anti-vaccination. And those that are anti-vaccination can't see the point of those people that are pro-vaccination. Listen, we're all trying to do the best thing for our children. That's what people overlook, is that the people who are pro-vaccination want to do the best thing for their children. And people that are anti-vax are trying to do the best thing for their children, right? And they both have their arguments. What I recommend is this, is that I do recommend reading books from both sides, not just listening to the media. Don't listen to the media. The media is bought and paid for. We know that by now. But let's listen to different experts on both sides. That's what I recommend. And then also, if you do decide to go with vaccinations, of course, a delayed schedule probably makes more sense. I mean, does it make sense to give 6 to 12 different vaccinations in one day for a 10-pound, 20-pound child? Doesn't it seem like it might be a lot for that immune system to handle, even though the immune system is not even fully developed until 2 years old? You know, it's very, very important things to look at. And then when you look at certain vaccinations, like looking at a hepatitis B vaccination for people that are sexually active, does that make sense for a child that's just born? So again, it's not my job to tell you. It's my job simply to bring up questions for you to ask yourself and then do research on a topic as important as this, okay? So again, I could never give you the advice on what for you to do in terms of vaccinations, but I do want you to stay open to both sides. And what I want you to do is obviously what you can live with, what you feel best with, that's right for you, your family, and your children. So hopefully that helps. Okay, Justin's up next. I recently ordered the Candida and Bacterial Overgrowth Protocol, and I'm planning on starting this week. I have a couple questions. Should I adjust my strength training question while on the protocol? Should I eat less carbohydrates for a certain period of time? Can I use a vegan protein powder for my shake that fits my needs? I know for the first 28 to 28 days, I need to eliminate nuts, but are seeds okay? Also, this same protein powder has a superfood blend that includes onion as one of the ingredients. Should I avoid it for now? Thanks, Justin. All right, Justin, you started your protocol the first week of June. It is now the end of August. So these are questions. It says right there at stephencabral.com/ask Cabral. It says right on that page, these questions may not be answered for a couple months. For questions that you need answered the same day or that week, please email our support team, support@stephencabral.com, support@equilibriumnutrition.com, support@drwaltdetox.com, support anywhere you want. We'll help you out. Or just go to cabralsupportgroup.com. So I apologize, but of course you're not getting your answer the week that you started. These are for people that are not in a rush to get their answer. So here's the deal though. The powder that you're speaking about is not okay because it contains onion in it. We're removing those prebiotics for the first 8 to 12 weeks. That'll be under Sensitive Gut Guide. It tells you exactly how to do that. Literally, there's an FAQ, frequently asked question, for everything you just asked. And you can absolutely keep your carbohydrates up because there is no limit to the amount of food you can eat. You just have to stick to the foods on the plan, and you can still eat starches. It just has to be from a gluten-free starch. The first 3 weeks, you'll see the specific gluten-free starches, and then we open and expand that plan after the 3 weeks. So, Justin, I apologize, but I'm sure you got your question answered just by emailing our team or our cabralsupportgroup.com. Sierra is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Do you have any suggestions on how to get your body back in balance after pregnancy and breastfeeding? I'm 9 months pregnant and have spent a lot of time pre-pregnancy getting my body back in balance by doing a seasonal Dr. Cabral detox, getting my hormones in check with your weight loss test and protocol, checking food sensitivities, and I address the issues with skin, eating a heavily plant-based diet, and getting off birth control. My pregnancy hormones have me craving more carbs and processed foods, and now I've been getting intermittent yeast infections, which leads to imbalance in my gut health. I'm afraid that my skin is going to start breaking out again because I have been craving the foods that I'm moderately sensitive to and eating more often eggs and dairy. Besides doing a detox, after I stop breastfeeding, do you have any suggestions to bring the body back into balance again? This is a great question. Thank you for Sierra for writing in. A lot of women, a lot of intestinal dysbiosis and candida overgrowth during pregnancy and post-pregnancy, and that is not uncommon. There is a change of pH in the body. There's a change in pH of the vaginal-based flora. So if you have any bloating, distension, constipation, or loose stool, I would potentially look into doing the Candida and Bacterial Overgrowth Protocol, the CBO protocol, okay? Yes, I would recommend doing the Dr. Cabral detox when you stop breastfeeding. And then I would stay away from the sensitive foods that you are, but then begin to make sure that you're getting enough good carbs back in your diet. I would also begin to ramp up your exercise 3, 4, 5 days per week. Doesn't have to be backbreaking, doesn't have to be too strenuous, but we want to make sure that we're getting that metabolism up. But also, I'm saying that it helps to balance hormones. It's going to be good for the cortisol, thyroid, estrogen levels. So that's absolutely my recommendation. If you feel like you're not losing weight to the greatest degree possible, well, it's probably been around a year or so, I would run that weight loss test, which is also called the thyroid adrenal hormone test as well. You could also run the organic acids test to look at that digestive health. No matter what, we'd be able to help you with a plan to make sure that you get the results that you want for sure, because we work with many, many pregnant women and pre-peri and postnatal in our practice, and obviously some of our favorite clients to work with. I know there wasn't a super specific question in there, but I hope that helps you get started. Lisa's up next. Can dental work like crowns and root canals ruin your health and cause cancer? I recently had a full mouth rehab since I was a night grinder, and they put crowns on all my teeth. And after the crowns were placed, I ended up having 5 root canals. I know there are a lot of toxins that are involved in dental work, so are there other protocols you suggest to get rid of the body of any toxins and damage they may have caused? Yes. So Lisa, this is really important. I recommend running either a urine or the hair tissue mineral analysis test to look for heavy metals. I also recommend running an organic acids test. Let me see if I want to run one before that. I would probably run a heavy metals for sure. And then most likely what I would do is, because I don't want you to overspend on labs right now, hair tissue mineral analysis, the metals test right there. And then you might want to run a toxicity test that can show you some of the heavy levels of toxins in the body. So then for sure, I would be doing a Dr. Cabral detox quarterly, like for sure. And you probably want to start with a 21-day detox to really remove a lot of these toxins from your body. If you show up high on your hair tissue mineral analysis, then we'll want to run a heavy metal detox if there's a lot of mercury or aluminum in there. So that's what I would start with. And please go to stephencabral.com/podcasts and type in root canal or type in dental, and you'll see all my previous podcasts on finding a good holistic dentist or biological dentist, someone that really knows what they're doing, because yes, all of these different mouth-based treatments, oral-based treatments can absolutely lead to poor health if they're not taken care of. Okay, great question. Thank you, Lisa. Ken's up next. Dr. Cabral, my wife has suffered from depression and anxiety for many years. Her nutrition is not on point, and we are working on that. She has recently been taking a supplement called Kratom, and her mood, depression, and anxiety have all improved markedly. What are your thoughts toward this supplement? Thank you so much for your time in this and all that you do. Thankfully, Kent. Kent, I'm actually going to do a Friday review on this product. That will be upcoming. I feel like someone asked this before as well. So Kratom works for some people. We'll just put it that way. And it seems to work best for those people who are more prone to lower mood, but also that have more pain. Okay, more like inflammatory joint or muscle-based pain. The two seem to go hand in hand sometimes, lower mood and pain. So if your wife is getting good benefit from it, then I'm not against it. What I want to do, though, is have her get on the lowest possible dose that also gives her a clinical benefit, meaning like that actually improves her mood. But remember, there's so much else that needs to be done. We want to look at an organic acids test. We want to look at a hair tissue mineral analysis to get started. We want to look at a thyroid adrenal hormone panel. We want to look at the omega-3 test. We want her to eat those foods that she loves and then runs a food sensitivity test. So if you run the Dr. Cabral Big 5, it's an investment. There's no doubt about it. I understand that there's a big investment to the Dr. Cabral Big 5. But that's because labs, like that's just the lab price. Like that includes a lot, right? You get so much data because the problem right now, something is going on. There's some imbalance. There's gut-based issues. There might be heavy metals. There might be candida. There might be digestive issues and the gut is affecting the brain, and there might be neurotransmitter issues, and there might be absorption issues. And so there can be all sorts of different things going on. So, things like omega-3 support right away can help. Zinc, our balanced zinc supplement can help right away. I mean, there's so much that can help. Just getting on her a smoothie every morning for breakfast and getting away from the pastries and the muffins. And so there's so much that can be done, and there's so much that you can try. But if you want a customized protocol, I do recommend running some labs. But I am happy to hear. I mean, I'm not against Kratom. It's just not for everyday use, not for every person like a CBD oil would. CBD oil could also be very, very beneficial for your wife, and we do hope to have that over the next week or so again available. Ken, I feel for you. I understand what you, your wife, family are going through, but keep hope because there is hope, and I know that your wife, by looking at all sorts of things, can get well as well. All right. Next question is from Kara. Kara writes in, what is your opinion on LASIK for eyes? I've worn glasses and contacts since I was 12 for about 23 years and have thought a lot about this route. Although my ophthalmologist said to wait until I'm done having kids and done nursing because the hormones cause a fluctuation in vision. Okay, that is not a specialty of mine. So I just want to always say that when it's not a specialty of mine. And ophthalmology is certainly not a specialty of mine. Something like iridology, looking at the iris to see what might be wrong with the body as well, is something that I've studied quite more in depth. These are two different topics, so I don't want to confuse the two. I will say this, the LASIK surgery that I've seen people get is remarkable, meaning they've gotten great results. Your ophthalmologist, they will tell you if you're a candidate or not. Not everyone's a candidate for it. If you are, you can get literally next day amazing results. I have not seen a lot of side effects or negatives to this. I do recommend doing your own research on this topic since I'm not an expert on this topic. In terms of hormones causing fluctuation in vision, that may or may not be true. For sure, there's a fluctuation when there's high levels of cortisol. In terms of other hormones causing fluctuation in visions, haven't seen a lot of research behind that. Now, there obviously could be. I have not seen that. There is certainly with cortisol, that's for sure. In terms of what people call floaters, for sure in terms of higher stress and cortisol that will affect vision as well as inflammation. Low levels of omega-3, one of the best tests that you can run is an omega-3 test in terms of vision and inflammation and overall for the eye, the retina as well. So important to look into that. Other important things for the eyes are antioxidants that I've spoken about on previous shows. Zeaxanthin, lutein are a few of those. All right, Kara, hopefully that helps. That is my honest answer. Kara is coming in with a second question, or it could just be a second Kara spelled with a C. Hi, Dr. Ball. What is your opinion on canned goods like chickpeas and black beans and sardines, etc.? Even though there's a lot of good brands out there that now say BPA free, does that mean that they are free from bisphenols as BPS as well? Let's see. Just curious how concerned you are over this. Also, at Casa de Cabral, does your family use sprouted quinoa, sprouted nuts, sprouted oats 100%? Thank you. All right, Kara, great questions, and I love the Casa de Cabral. And we say that quite often, actually, at my house. So here's what we do. When we're using beans and chickpeas, we are oftentimes using the sprouted, bagged-based versions, but I am not adverse to every once in a while using the canned BPA-free, plastic-free version. Are going to be some contaminants in there. Without a doubt, there are. So I have to weigh that between, can I get them organic? Okay, because that's more important to me. And then also, I want to make sure it's BPA free. And then I like to look for other things as well, if possible, that there's obviously there's not going to be heavy metal leaching from aluminum cans for the most part. And that's because they line them with the BPA, right? So I look for that. And what do we mainly get? Well, we mainly get sardines packed in olive oil from those cans because it's hard to find sardines any other way. And meaning like in a can. And then black beans or chickpeas. Well, sometimes we do chickpeas, but a lot of times we're having hummus. So that would be a little different story. Okay, let's get to your second question. We don't live in a perfect world. And yes, we have some canned foods, but here's the other thing. We also sometimes have canned coconut cream. Okay, so Native Forest is one brand that we use. And Thai Kitchen Organic is another brand that we use. Okay, so yes, we use some canned goods. Okay, but we don't use the aluminum pans, aluminum spatulas. We don't use aluminum foil to cook on, so we're trying to get away from that. And then we try to do as much, we do everything BPA free, that's for sure. Sprouted quinoa, sprouted nuts, sprouted oats. Yes, if we do nuts, a lot of them are sprouted, not always. Because let's just say we get Brazil nuts, right? Or we get some macadamia. Those are hard to find sprouted. Easy to find sprouted almonds. What else? Sprouted oats. No, we don't do sprouted oats. We typically do the gluten-free organic oats. And let's see what else. Quinoa. Yes, quinoa will absolutely do sprouted. We don't do a lot of quinoa in my house. It's a little higher lectin than I enjoy, but sometimes we do it. And we eat more rice than we do quinoa, that's for sure. All different varieties, black rice, red rice, those are by the Lotus brand. So hopefully that answers your question. I think that's pretty much it. Okay, Suzanne is up next. Dear Stephen Cabral Clinic, first, thank you for all of your great work. I want to ask if you ship to Denmark. I'm interested in ordering your Candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol. She's asking if we ship to Denmark, and the answer to that is no, but the second part is to that we will be. So we'll be shipping over to our European friends this fall. We already have it in the works. As many of you know, we are switching to a brand new fulfillment house in September. We're not going to even tell you when. We want to surprise you. The shipping time will be 3 days, right? You will get it in 3 days. If you order anytime by 6 o'clock Eastern, it literally ships out that night. We're paying a phenomenal amount of money to have this done, but we feel that it's the right thing to do. And we also feel you're worth it. We really do. Like, if someone's on one of our protocols, I don't want you to wait a week to get your products. I want you to get them in 2 to 3 days. So that's what we're doing. Very excited about that. Phase 2 to that is making sure that our friends over in Australia and the UK get them within 5 to 7 days, no longer 2 weeks. So that's our goal, 5 days basically to Australia and the UK. UK will obviously be faster than that. Canada, 3 to 4 days, and in the US, 2 to 3 days. That's our goal. That's what we want to do. Once we accomplish that, right away, we'll be shipping over to Europe. Look for that, let's say November. If it happens in October, great, but look for it in November. That's what I'm slating that for. Everywhere in Europe. So check that out. Okay, Julie's up next. Julie will be our last question. It's a big one. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm 36-year-old female, 5'7", 135 pounds. No major health concerns. Eat a regular diet. Currently following a 3-day-a-week strength program. Recently decided to go off birth control. I was taking Junel. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation. It's Junel, which is a combination pill. I stopped at the beginning of March, so I'm thinking that by the time you get this question, it will have been 3 to 4 months since stopping taking it. I've been taking birth control for 20 years. Can't remember what age. I took the pill to stop heavy, painful periods and ovarian cysts. I've since read that those things are not that uncommon for teenage girls. I do not plan to have children, but from what I understand, ovulation can be important for overall female health, as well as the importance of progesterone versus progestins. Anyway, since stopping the pill, I've been tracking signs of ovulation, and so far I've not ovulated or had any sort of period, and I appear to have zero cycle of any kind. I know that it can take several months for my body to adjust, but I'm wondering if you have any suggestions to help support my body to get it back into a natural cycle. I have started taking zinc and magnesium for this reason. I'm considering peony and licorice combo, Vitex, or maybe try seed cycling. Do you suggest any of the supplements for this? Or any way to support my body in finding its natural cycle again? Thanks for all you do. I've been learning a lot from your podcast. So Julie, I really love that you mentioned seed cycling. I've not talked about this yet on 933 podcasts. So if you want to see today's podcast show notes, go to episode 933, stephencabral.com/933. You can read Julie's question in full there as well. That is exactly where I would start for most women, is seed cycling. I'm going to talk about that. I'm actually going to put that in my notes. I actually have all of my shows planned out for the next, almost 3 weeks, believe it or not. But I'm going to put in there, when is my next opening? Maybe I can get it in next 2. Well, no, we'll see. I'm going to get in the next month or so. Seed cycling. Okay. After that, if you do not get your cycle back within 4 months, that's what I tell women. 4 months is what we need to wait. Not wait. You can come back sooner than that. But 4 months, if you still haven't got a normal cycle back after coming off birth control, please run the thyroid adrenal hormone panel. We need to see what's going on. And if you're not getting any type of ovulation, if you're not getting any type of premenstrual, here's what I'd like to do. If women aren't getting a period, I'd like you to take the thyroid adrenal hormone test. The day or so where you get maybe the most symptoms that you may be getting your period soon, or that you might be experiencing some water retention or bloating or lower mood, or maybe some light headaches, dull headaches, anything that might be some premenstrual based symptoms. So that's what I prefer women to do. Don't have their cycle. We'll take a look at your hormone levels. If you wanted to run one other lab in conjunction with that, you would run your hair tissue mineral analysis, just like you said, to see if zinc and magnesium, selenium also could help as well. So that's what we'll do, and then we'll give you our exact recommendations from there. Hopefully that is a great place to get started, Julie. Thank you so much for writing in. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into another Cabral House Call. I enjoy being able to answer your questions each and every weekend. And as always, stay tuned for another week of the upcoming Cabral Concept. A lot of great shows coming up tomorrow. Our Mindset and Motivation Monday. Can't wait to bring you that. And then, of course, we have more of our Ayurvedic-based shows. And because of your feedback, I'm actually going to do one more week of meal plans, how to plan your meal based on your unique body type with the Ayurvedic doshas. You asked for it. I'm giving you a second show before I move on to the Ayurvedic exercise for each body type. Thank you, as always, for being a part of this community. Truly appreciate you. Hope you had an amazing weekend, and I'll speak with you tomorrow. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.